Hi everyone, Leah here from EurekaCrystalBeads.com with another fun beading video for you. Before I get started, go take a look at our channel. And if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and notification bell, and you'll always know when we're posting new content. Today's project is going to be a romantic-inspired herringbone bracelet with Superduos. Which this is what the finished product looks like. I have not quite finished it because by the end of the video you will see this finished, but this is what we're going to be making. So let me talk to you a little bit about what we're going to need first. So first and foremost, we need Superduos. I have here a little mix I made, and we're gonna link you below to all of the colors I used to make this little Valentine's mix. It's 5 different colors of Superduos, and one of the reasons I picked these colors is because I wanted sort of a Valentine or romantic inspired color palette without being typical red or typical bright pink. So these are all very kind of lush creams and pale pinks and muted golds in there. If you're not familiar with a Superduo, it is a 2-hole bead, and it's got a little bit of a bulge right in the center and each of those holes running down either side. So again, I've got 5 colors here. You can use 1 color, 5 colors, as many colors or as few colors as you like. I also have here a size 15 seed bead. This one does happen to be Miyuki, but Miyuki or Toho is fine. I have a 2-hole slide bar clasp. Any sort of clasp that you like can be worked with this. This one I just liked because it sort of mirrors the width of the bracelet, so it'll work out pretty nicely, and I think it'll look nice, but there's other clasp options that would certainly work. And now I also have a size 11 seed bead here. Again, this is a Miyuki, but Japanese, Toho, doesn't matter, check. Nothing here has to closely interlock like something like a peyote stitch, so it doesn't have to be a Japanese brand. It doesn't have to be a certain Japanese brand. You just need a size 11. All right, lastly, we're going to need 6-pound fire line. I'm going to be using the color Crystal. And you're going to need a size 12 beading needle. But in all honesty, a size 10 should probably work fine too. I just know that the second I get into the 15s, I like moving to my size 12, but a 10 should work just fine. Okay, I've dumped out some of the beads that I'm going to be using. I have my Superduos, my 15s, and my 11s. So the way we're going to start is by using 1 15 as a stop bead. And that means that we're going to string it on and then circle back through it again. And this is going to create some tension on the line, and that's going to keep the beads that we add on after it from falling off. We can always pull this off later. Now, as far as how long to leave your tail, well, you have to have an idea of what your clasp plan is going to be. For me, I'm going to be using this little 2-strand slide bar clasp, and I know that I want to use this tail to add on that clasp. So I'm going to leave this quite long if this was my working piece. I'm just making a little swatch to start, and then we'll go back to that original sample I showed you earlier in the video. But normally this tail here, if I was starting out, I would have this be about 8 inches or so that way I could stick a needle on it later and weave in that clasp or weave on that clasp. If you knew that you had some sort of different clasp plan that wasn't going to need to utilize this tail, just leave a few inches on there, just something you can stick a needle on and weave it in later. Now, my loading sequence to determine the width of the bracelet is going to start off with 2 11s and a Superduo. Now, this is what I'm considering a unit. So now we're going to put on another unit, which is again another 2 11s and a Superduo. This has determined the length of this bracelet, which is the length I showed you in the sample. You can continue to add on more units if you'd like and have a wider bracelet. If you add on 2 more units, which means 2 seed beads, a Superduo, 2 seed beads, a Superduo, you'll have a lovely wide cuff. But all the steps that you'll learn here will be exactly the same. So you can have fun with the width here, but we're going to make one that's a bit more narrow and a daintier version of this bracelet for this project. Now remember, Superduos have 2 holes. Right now, the hole that we're using, that we have our fire line running through, we're going to consider the bottom hole. So we're going to hold this so that way our top holes, the empty holes, are sticking up. We're now going to use 2 15s as our little turnaround. They're going to cover up the thread that we would see on the outside here as we jump from the bottom hole to the top hole. We'll have some beads that are covering it up. I'm just going to pop right through there. And again, just make sure you hold it so both holes are pointing up, just like this. Now, The loading sequence of the beads we pick up starting right now, from now on, is going to be the same throughout the entire bracelet. But the beads that we go through in this first row are where we're still going to differ just a little bit. But we are going to pick up the start of what's going to be our regular sequence, which is 111 and 1 Superduo. Here, you can see the Superduo here, how I'm coming out of the top hole. I'm going to travel through both of these 11s and then right up into the top hole of the next Superduo. I wanted to make sure that was nice and clear because it's not always easy to do holding it on camera. And it's going to be a little wiggly here. It's going to feel a little wonky, a little hard to keep straight. You're going to see that they start to go a little wonky there. That's exactly what you want to see. That is the start of our little herringbone pattern. So I'm going to do the same thing again in 11 and a Superduo. Now here I have those 2 11s at the end. I'm just going to go right through just those 2 11s. I'm going to ignore that 15 that's there because remember that's just my stop bead. And I know it looks a little funky, but now we're going to turn it around and we're going to do another little turnaround here. So remember, that's where we pick up. We start a new row and we pick up the 2 15s and we're going to head right into the top hole of the Superduo that we just picked up. But now, of course, we've reversed direction because we're heading to the other side. Once you have a little more to hold on to, it does get a lot easier. Okay. So now is where what we do next, the steps we do next are just going to repeat throughout the entire bracelet. So I'm going to pick up one of my seed beads, one of my 11s, and one of my Superduos. And I'm going to go right through that size 11 that's right there. And then it's going to seem weird to do this, but you're going to go right into the upper hole of that next popped up Superduo. And it seems like you're going to have a lot of thread showing, but trust me, you're not, because this is all going to pull in nice and tight and you're going to see more of that pattern forming. Starting this off is the trickiest part because you're never going to trust yourself. It's always going to look a little bit funky. So now we pick up 11 and Superduo. We're going to go through the seed bead after the one that we're coming out of, which is what we just did over here. We were coming out of the Superduo. We picked up 11 and Superduo and went through a seed bead. Then we went up through that Superduo, but now we have no Superduo after that. Well, that's because we're turning the corner again. So we went through the single size 11. Look at that. And now we turn our work. And we do another little turnaround, which again is going to would be visible thread, except that we're going to pick up those 2 15s. And each time you come out of the very end, give it a nice good tug. Go through the top hole. I like to also pinch it between my fingertips as I'm doing this so nothing gets pulled loose. Pick up an 11 and a Superduo. Now we go through the 11 that is right after the Superduo that we're coming out of. And then what you can do now is when it gets a lot easier. You have a lot more to hold on to and the pattern is going to be a lot more apparent. So the 2 beads we have to go through, we're going to be able to do in one fell swoop. So we're going to go through the size 11 and then through the top hole of that next Superduo. And you can, if you're careful, you can do it right in the same little swoop there. And again, it may appear like it's not going to look right, like we're going to have thread showing. Trust me, you won't, because that Superduo that we just went through, see how it pulls in? That's exactly what you want to see. So now again, we do an 11, we do our Superduo, we go through the 11 that's right after the Superduo we're coming out of. But as you can see, we're at the end of the row, so there's no more new Superduo to go through, which is why we turn our work, pick up 2 15s, and we go right up into the top hole right there of that Superduo. And we're back where we are. So I'm going to show you this one more time. Again, we're going to pick up our size 11 and our Superduo. You want to find the 11 that's right after the Superduo you're coming out of, which is, so it's right here. And then here's the next popped up Superduo. And if you're not sure which Superduo to go through, keep in mind this one right here already has thread going through that top hole. So we know we're not going to go through it again. This one does not have thread running through that top hole. So that's the one. So I'm going to angle my needle down and then angle it up. And you can go right through in the same motion. And then once more, we have our seed bead and our Superduo, and we just go through the seed bead because there's no Superduo after it. Now, this is a stitch that does tend to show a little bit of thread. As you can see, there is some visible thread, and some stitches are simply like this, and herringbone sometimes is one of them. Depends on the beads you're using, it depends on the sizes, but what is nice about this is that this is a very beautifully fluid and supple stitch and a beautifully flexible bracelet. So I'm a big fan of it. So now let's take a look at what I had going over here. This is the other sample that I worked up. So now I'm at the length that I need to finish up my bracelet. So this is the nice long tail that I left myself on my starter end. You can see the little double beads right there. And notice how we don't have double beads throughout as far as the 11s go. And now we're at the other side. Okay, we're going to do one more row. So again, I'm coming out of the end. I'm going to do my size 15 turnaround right up into the Superduo. Now I pick up 11 Superduo. I go through the seed bead right after the Superduo I'm coming out of, and then right into that top hole of the next Superduo. 11 and Superduo. Into the seed bead at the end. So each row that you do is going to make your bracelet get longer by the length of 2 Superduos. And you can see that the 2 that are on the top here, they're kind of pointed this way, and then the 2 that were in the previous row were kind of pointed this way, so it kind of keeps zigzagging up like that. But now the trick here is we want the end row to sort of match the front row, the beginning row. And what you can see that makes them different is that when we started, we had those little double seed beads, which we needed to do to start the herringbone, but at the other end we have the little single. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do a special row that's going to more closely mimic that look on this side. So for my final row, I'm going to pick up my 2 15s so I can do my little turnaround. Now, instead of picking up a seed bead and a Superduo, I'm just going to pick up a seed bead. And I'm going to go through the same beads that I normally would have. So I'm going to go through the 11 and then up through the Superduo there. And then I'm going to pick up just a seed bead, and I'm going to go through the 11. And now we have a look of a double seed bead, which while it's not identical to the first side, it's more closely identical to the first side. So now our sides look a little bit more finished as far as the front row and the end row. So once you're at your length, which of course needs to be determined by the wrist it's going on and also by how much length your clasp is going to add, you want to be at a stopping point. Now is when we get to have fun and add our clasp. So the way that I'm going to be working this with my little 2-hole slide bar clasp is I'm going to have the 2 holes line up with the 2 little double 11 sections there. And I'm going to have a little beaded loop come off of each of those. And I'll do that at the front side and at the back side, or meaning at this side of the clasp and at this side of the clasp. Now what I did here was I was coming out of this seed bead here, but I wanted to be coming out in between the 2. So what I did was I just kind of went right down here and then just did a little circle. So that way I could come out in between the 2 seed beads. And now we're going to use our 15s to make our little beaded loop here. So we don't need a huge beaded loop. Let's see, I think let's try about 7 of my 15s. And these will float through the loop of the clasp, and that's important to make note of. If you're using a clasp that has loops that are smaller, where your beads or your beaded loop will not float through it, just make sure that you pick up the amount of beads you want in your loop and then halfway string on your clasp, and then pick up the other half of the beads. But in this case, it's going to float right through, so it doesn't really matter. Okay. And now I'm going to go right down again. So we have a little beaded loop that's attaching our clasp. I'm going to follow that same thread path because, of course, we want to reinforce this. I'm going to follow that same thread path to just turn back around to get back up there. There's more than one way to get to the area that we want. This was just a way that I thought worked pretty well. Oop, I went through the 11. It already went through some of the beads of my clasp for me. Just make sure you're going through each of the beads in your beaded loop and you're not getting caught around the rest of your clasp as you pull through. And then head back down. So we have a little beaded loop that's attaching part of our clasp, and we're going to do that on the other side as well. Okay, so I've added on the second loop here, and all I did was just travel through the holes of some of these beads here just to get to the other side, and I did another beaded loop and I reinforced it. That's what it looks like from the side there. So now I just have to weave out my thread, and I'm going to do that just like I would in any seed beaded project. I'm going to catch myself underneath a stitch of thread going through the beadwork, form a knot, pull it down, and then weave through and do another knot, and then weave through and do another knot. And I want to make sure I do about 4 knots or so at least, weaving in between each one to different little parts of the bracelet. And then after my last knot, I will weave out just a little bit more before cutting my thread. Okay, and here we have our finished product here. Their beautiful slide clasp, which I think is just a lovely width and style for this bracelet. You can see our beaded loops that we've used there. You could also use something like wire guards if you prefer. I like the beaded loops more often because I like that the beading just kind of camouflages all of that whole area in rather than adding more hardware. But whatever you like is fine. And that is what we have, this beautiful, beautiful sort of a chevron pattern in our herringbone with Superduos romantic style. I hope you guys loved it. Make sure to visit us on over at EurekaCrystalBeads.com for everything I used in this video. We will link you below if you love these colors especially. And I will see you next time. Bye.